entered into the base of his brain and exited the left side and finally out the top of his skull. It was an utterly gruesome visual.
We do have a possible suspect in the 800-900 building.
Mike had writings on his left and right legs, which included a swastika with the word "Build Wall" and "Your Home," respectively. The murder weapon and several magazines were located near his body, and a flash drive was found in the pocket of his hoodie. As police made rounds through the school securing the scene, they would hear the various stories from witnesses and students. Most reported that they first thought the sound of gunshots was an angry student punching lockers, but when the horror dawned on them that the shots were indeed gunshots, the school went into lockdown mode, with teachers and students hiding anywhere they could find a place to hide. Any place.
Our teacher instructed us to go to the corner of the room, out of sight of the door, and it sounded, a few minutes after we got in the corner, it sounded like just kids were banging on the lockers outside in the hallway. But obviously, after a while, it got closer, and it was obviously gunshots.
Classroom number 501, Mr. Barton's class, locked their door, and all of the students hid underneath their desks. One student, Logan Moore, from Mr. Flack's class, recalled that the noise sounded like someone on the roof hitting it with a hammer. Mr. Flack saw the janitor in the hallway as the shooting began and went to investigate. And later, when Logan left that classroom, he saw the cowboy hat the janitor always wore. It was lying on the ground, next to a spilled cup of coffee. Such everyday items, except these items represented a tragedy that occurred right outside of that classroom door.
We were sitting in a corner up against the wall, and I could feel it vibrating, and then it stopped, and when we evacuated out of our room, there was a dead body outside our room, and we were told that it was probably the shooter that shot himself outside our door.
Police brought in a trained canine, Canine Monty to be precise, to search out possible explosives. It is not uncommon for those that commit mass murder events to leave behind booby traps of sorts, hoping to cause more destruction in their wake. After all vehicles at the school and all packages located on the scene were searched, and all clear was issued, and further searching commenced, it was quickly determined that Mike didn't drive to the school. He didn't have a vehicle, and he had walked there. His black backpack was located in the second-floor bathroom, but it was empty, meaning Mike likely only used it to transport his weapon and ammunition. When Mike's body was found, bruises were discovered on his knuckles from pounding on classroom doors and windows. During the longest 3 minutes of their young lives, many students called or texted their parents who, in turn, called 911 to report the shooting. That must be one of the most terrifying calls or texts any parent could ever receive. Nearby, McGee Park was established as a reunification center. As the first students were escorted to the gym, the relief they must have felt, knowing they would safely go home that night, must have been nearly overwhelming.
But we need to go classroom by classroom and remove the kids, move them to the gym.
Kids were placed on buses and taken to McGee Park so they could be reunited with their families. Mike was described as wearing a dark gray or black sweatshirt, black pants with a tan belt, sunglasses, and gray sneakers. He could quickly gain entry into the school by only joining up with a group of students emerging from the bus. Mike blended right in and wasn't questioned or stopped in any manner. In the bathroom stall he prepared himself in, a large knife was discovered with the empty backpack, black gloves, keys, and live cartridges. Approximately 82 shell casings were found throughout the school. When the flash drive that was located on Mike's person was examined, a note was found that read, "If things go according to plan, today would be when I die. I go somewhere and gear up, then hold a class hostage and go apeshit, then blow my brains out."
And I'm going to read the top part. He wrote this at 6:51 a.m. yesterday morning. If things go according to plan, today would be when I die. I wait until the school buses are detected, then head out on foot disguised as a student. I go somewhere and gear up, then hold a class hostage and go ape shit, then blow my brains out.
"17-year-old Casey Jordan Marquez was born in Durango, Colorado on April 8, 2000 to parents Brent Bethel and Jamie Latine. Casey had a brother, Daniel Gillespie, and sisters Kiana, Tasha, and Capri Marquez. Like most high schoolers, she was eager to graduate as she had big plans to teach at cheerleading camps across the Southwest. Her mom described her as a wild little girl who never sat still for a long while growing up, and she would always be covered in dirt from head to toe by the end of the day. Casey passionately loved animals of all kinds, and it didn't matter what it was. In fact, she was known to catch turtles, lizards, snakes, and bugs. When Jamie was pregnant with her son Daniel, Casey was so excited to help take care of him. A tomboy at heart, she was never afraid to get dirty and enjoyed camping, riding four-wheelers, and generally all things outdoors. Teachers loved having Casey in their classes. She was a great student that was kind to others. However, it was cheerleading that was her greatest joy. Casey started cheering for her youth football team and fell in love with the sport, and before too long, she was even making up her own fitness routines to stay fit. You see, Casey once saw one of her older sisters compete in a weightlifting show, and she was inspired to get fit, stay healthy, and be the best version of herself, which she was until the day she died. The Aztec high school cheer team was supposed to cheer at the Orange Bowl in Miami Gardens on December 30th that year, which is something Casey would have loved so much. She was the squad captain, but she also worked at the Farmington Gymnastics Academy, where she could be found almost daily teaching the tiny tumblers and flip-floppers classes. Casey dreamt of moving to Texas after high school. She wanted to be closer to her sisters, and already had a job lined up at Spirit Express West. Jamie, Casey's mom, heard about the shooting and kept calling her daughter over and over again as she raced to the Aztec Police Department. Initially, Casey's friend told Jamie that Casey lost her phone that morning, which probably bought her a few moments of relief. Those precious few moments to deny what she probably already knew in her gut to be true. For when Jamie actually arrived at the police department, she was informed that sadly, her daughter had perished in the shooting. The premature baby that grew up into a happy, beautiful young woman, the born fighter, was lost to her forever.
She would love to see everybody here, to come see her. She loved everybody. When anybody was down, she was always there to try to bring them up.
Francisco Fernandez Jr. was called Paco by everyone and anyone that knew him. Born on June 7th, 2000, Paco was only 17 years old when this bright young man was senselessly robbed from this world. He was indeed a sports enthusiast. He loved playing and watching. Paco was a very talented athlete, playing for the basketball and football team, and wrestling. His favorite football team was the New England Patriots, and his favorite basketball team was the Oklahoma City Thunder. Gaming was another of Paco's favorite things to do, but his number one pastime was simply spending time with his family and friends. 2017 was his first year attending Aztec High School, as he had previously gone to Piedra Vista High School in Farmington before transferring to Aztec High. Paco cared deeply about his studies and was an excellent student. His cousin, Ramon Lopez, fondly remembers that Paco was the guy you could always go to if you needed someone to talk to. A lover of specialty cars, Paco was sent off to heaven with a procession of lowriders and classic vehicles that transported the family to the cemetery, and a line of approximately 50 motorcycles along a path leading up to the church where his funeral was held. Aztec, New Mexico had an estimated population of about 6,400 residents in 2019 and covered a total land area of 13 square miles. As previously mentioned, winters can get extremely cold, with temperatures as low as 18 degrees. On the other hand, summers are incredibly hot, with an average temperature of 91 degrees. Aztec is considered a part of the Farmington, New Mexico metropolitan area. It is known for its plethora of parks that cover a total of 132 acres and over 16 miles of trails. The city is also known for the ancient ruins that are located within city limits, and in 1987, the Aztec Ruins National Monument was declared as a World Heritage Site due to the site preserving Pueblo architectural and engineering achievements. The ruins were erected around 1100 AD and used by the Pueblo until around 1300 AD. Aztec High School is the home of the Fighting Tiger, proudly sporting their colors of black and orange. The school held classes from 9th to 12th grade and enrolled around 965 students. The high school motto is a quote, "Where the crossroads of academic excellence and opportunity meet." The school offers many different groups and clubs for student engagement, such as choir, band, FFA, JROTC, the Department of Theater, Key Club, Student Council, Yearbook, and the National Honor Society. Mike was born on March 16, 1996, and at the time of the shooting, he lived with his mother and father in Aztec, New Mexico. Mike was a dropout from Aztec High School, and the very reasons for his expulsion should have been reason enough to stay somewhat on the authorities' radar. On March 9, 2012, Mike was suspended from school for a potential threat against the school. The threat included a written timeline, or schedule, of the Columbine shooting on a whiteboard at the school. Mike never returned, and was officially expelled from the school on August 20th, 2012. Things may have appeared quiet on the surface of Mike's life, but in reality, his disturbing obsession with shootings, particularly school shootings, was growing. In March of 2016, Mike was investigated by the FBI after posting online that he was searching for firearms to purchase so he could commit a mass shooting. Examinations for Mike's computer show that he searched where to find cheap assault rifles for a mass shooting. It could not be more obvious what this boy was planning. He went further, posting in an online gaming website inquiring about the same things, trying to find cheap guns to commit mass murder. Mike had a substantial online presence, and he frequently displayed his obsession with school shootings, glorifying those shooters. Again, under FBI investigation, the computer used to post all of these online threats traced back to an IP address registered to Mike's brother. However, after some research, the FBI concluded that Mike was harmless. After all, he didn't own a gun, claimed to have no intention of committing a shooting, and claimed not to mean what he said online. He was just an internet troll. Because they bought his explanation, the case was closed. Now, to their credit, the FBI did issue a, quote, "use caution" notification to the Aztec Police Department, who actually used Mike's brother's name instead, making the information reasonably useless. At one point, there was a notification about an investigation into a threat at the high school, which might require assistance from the Aztec Police Department. Still, it was essentially just an FYI and, again, moot since the police had the wrong brother.
There are a lot of different gaming websites out there, different active shooter type of gaming websites, a lot of different things out there. Occasionally we'll get tips from other people that get on those gaming websites where people have put some sort of disturbing type of message. That's what occurred in this one. It was not a specific threat. It wasn't about Aztec in particular. We had to do some research to find out who made the post in the first place. So those were the initial investigative steps. They ended up tying back to him, and that's what led us to interview him. Generally speaking, it was If you're going to conduct a mass shooting, does anybody know about cheap assault rifles?